Alright, so I know that I haven't been recording anything here lately. Um, I got a lot of stuff going on right now, but I will be making more videos here soon. I'm just trying to get some stuff straightened up, getting some things together. Here lately, I've been messing with my new laser engraver. I've been messing with the server. I've been messing with some other software. I had to reimage a computer. Um, I've been doing a lot of different stuff. But hopefully I can get back in the swing of things and we can start making more videos. Um, Part of the reason why I haven't been making videos is because my desk stays cluttered. It's constantly cluttered because I'm always working on something different. Um, what I would suggest for honestly for just anybody trying to get in the field of IT, um, just get your hands on something and just work with it. Find out what it does, what it doesn't do. Does it break? Does it work? I mean, there really isn't any point in putting off your career. Um, I know that a lot of people get in this field and they get discouraged. Um, you either get stuck at the help desk or you get stuck on a role that has no actual value whatsoever to your actual career. And to be honest, I got stuck in that too for about 10 years. I worked for the help desk for an ISP. I got stuck working for call centers trying to sell people Sirius XM as well as other products. Um, it's really easy to just absolutely give up. Um, but don't, because to be honest, whether you end up doing something in the field of IT or you go somewhere else and you work in some other industry, all the skills you end up learning in IT can be applied elsewhere. Don't ever let anybody tell you that they can't. Um, there are some people that you just automatically know right off the bat that they're going to make a career in IT. And then there's other people that they say that they're working on it, but they aren't. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the experience, they don't have the interest. What they're really interested in doing is just making money. And there is money in IT, but it takes a long time, a lot of effort, and a lot of heartache to actually get to that point. Um, I know that myself, it took me 10 years of just nonstop training and nonstop work and nonstop just tinkering with the stuff to actually get a career in it. Um, and honestly, it takes a lot of luck. A lot of people get into these positions, and it's just because they knew somebody. Um, if I had a piece of advice to give somebody who was just getting started on getting into IT, I would say you get your degrees, you get your certs. Once you've done those two things, you start applying to contracting agencies. Most companies do not hire IT right off the bat anymore. Um, Honestly, in my opinion, they never did. Um, I graduated the first time in 2011 with an associate's in information systems engineering. I couldn't find a job in it. Um, I ended up going to Job Corps. I got a 1 year pre apprenticeship completion for facilities maintenance. And then I ended up working at a hospital doing housekeeping. Then I did like moves, just moving people from one location to another. Uh, did some light electrical wiring and but I still did projects on the side. I built a recording studio on the side. I used to help churches with their audio setups, um, but I never really stopped working in it. I just didn't get paid for it really. Um, but the thing is that really what sets people apart in the field of IT is their levels of experience. everybody's going to have a certain amount of knowledge and a certain amount of training and expertise in the field of IT. Um, but the thing about it is that there comes a point when the people that really do have that experience, they can easily tell if somebody has that training and that education versus somebody that doesn't. That there's a series of questions that are like really really basic questions. It allows you to separate the people that don't have the knowledge, don't have the experience, from the people that actually do. Um, Another thing that I've noticed is with resumes. I took a few courses on building resumes, as well as a course on teaching English as a foreign language. Um, the biggest problem that people have when it comes to their resumes is that they don't focus on their actual goal. They don't focus on what they actually did at a job, that they tell you that they managed something, but what does it really mean to actually manage something? What did you actually do? Perfectly good example is somebody writes on their resume, I have experience um, resetting passwords in Active Directory. Okay. Well, what does that actually mean? Did you meet SLA? Was there an SLA? How many passwords were you resetting in a day? Was it 10? Was it 20? Was it 100? Did you actually interface with Active Directory, or did you use a secondary application like NetIQ or something like that? These are important questions. This is important information to gather. Password resets, right? Help desk. I spent about 5 years in help desk, nothing but help desk. Um, and I can tell you right now that if you write down that you reset passwords up on your resume, you're going to get overlooked for a lot of different jobs. Um, there's password resets, and then there's actual system management. And a lot of what people actually do when they're doing password resets is that they are managing accounts from a user access management or identity access management layer. In one of my previous roles, I did a lot of identity access management work. Um, we created the groups in AD. We added people to them. We removed them. We monitored them. Um, and then we also had to do SOX audits. Um, so there's a lot of stuff to it that there's a lot of work towards it. But in terms of writing your resume, you need to specify how many people that you affected, what software that you actually used, and your level of proficiency. And you need to state how you saved the company money. This is the most important thing that people don't do, especially in the IT areas, is they never actually say what they did to save money. And because you never actually say that, nobody knows what you do that actually saves them money. A doctor can say that they saved a company money by saying, well, I served, let's say, 20 patients in a 2-week period. I reduced the usage of gauze by 20%. That this is a $15,000 to $10,000 savings. But you have to be able to like really get down to the nitty gritty of what it actually means. But that's just in my personal experience. You could take it, you can leave it. Doesn't really matter. What I can tell you is that that's what's worked for me in terms of getting jobs. Also, always bring 3 copies of your resume to any interview. Most employers, when they actually show up to the interview, they don't have your resume in hand. They may have looked at it, most of them don't. You need to bring copies of your resume with you to show that you are prepared for if they do not have it on them. This will also show them that you come prepared to do your job. So if you can like plan out things, then you get a little bit better with it. terms of uh, just software in general, a lot of the software that companies use, they don't actually teach you in college. So don't expect your college to actually help you get anywhere in terms of a job in IT. Most of the software that they're teaching you is what was used 5 to 6 years ago, and it's not really being supported at this point. Um, the technology in general at this point is evolving so quickly that it's not really possible to keep up with all of it. You just have to really pick and choose what you're going to be good at and just go with the flow. Um, Myself, I do a lot of home automation. I do a lot of audio recording on a personal system. I don't do a whole lot of studio recording anymore. I built recording studios, but I don't really have the level of experience to actually say that I'm a recording studio builder. But um, I love home automation. I love etching. I like the idea of 3D printing. Um, I love writing documents. I like creating technical documentation, creating processes and procedures. Uh, so that brings me to the next point that we need to make. In terms of cybersecurity, if you have this written as your degree, you need to specify what part of cybersecurity that you focused on. Most colleges train you in one or two ways. They're going to train you in network defense or network offense. Or they're going to focus on policies. Policies and procedures is a huge thing that fits under GRC. It fits under governance, risk, and compliance. That is what my degree focused on, and that is what I actually consider myself as being from my last position. Um, it's important that you know how to sell yourself in an interview, but you also need to know what jobs that your degree actually sets you up for. If you do nothing but offensive security, then that's what you're going to specialize in. If you do nothing but network defense, such as setting up firewall rules, setting up switches, setting up routers, the configurations, a lot of that stuff, antivirus policies, things like that, that's separate from network offense. Network offense is entirely different, and it's sort of like in construction how they say, uh, if you are a carpenter, every problem looks like a nail. Or if you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And that's true. And that goes for offensive security and defensive security and policies and procedures. Everything looks like a problem that you specialized in. And part of it is, part of it isn't. But the biggest issue that I see with offensive security professionals right now is the fact that you have people in my age group or younger that have no actual experience working with the infrastructure that they're supposed to be maintaining, and they end up implementing policies that break systems. And they could actually break the entire network, that they could break the entire security of an entire department, of an entire site, of an entire company. It costs millions, billions of dollars to sometimes mitigate some of these risks. And it's important that as a professional in your field that you know what you're touching. And unfortunately right now that a lot of the cybersecurity professionals that are out there right now do not know this and do not understand the complexity of a network. A network's complexity is more than just ports and creating port openings and port closings and all this other stuff. It's a lot more to it. And what I suggest that anybody who's starting out with cybersecurity, you need to focus on the infrastructure side. I think that computer repair is a good start, but it shouldn't take you an entire college term, an entire college semester, or however you want to put it. It shouldn't take most of your time in college, and it shouldn't take you most of your time in a certification either. because building computers is not difficult, and it also doesn't really require a whole lot of training. What does require a lot of training is configuring the actual network components, setting up your routers, your modems, your ISP lines, your phone connections, your emergency communication systems. All these things should take a lot more time than just repairing a computer. Repairing a computer has really one or two components to it. Either you go out and you go and buy a new computer and you go and swap it out, which is what most companies do because computers have just gotten so cheap, or it's component level, in which case you're gonna be an electrician. That's really and truly what it is. You have to know what you're measuring the voltage of. You need to be able to trace out a line and things like this. But that's where a desktop technician would come in, that they should have that knowledge, and they should be able to troubleshoot electrical component lines. That's what they should be specialized in. Then you have your network communication system administrators and technicians. A network administrator and a technician should be able to tone out a phone line, tone out network ports, trace out breaks. So if somebody comes in and they run a line for you, and there's a cut 1,000 feet in, you should be able to detect that. You should be able to mitigate that. And right now, I can tell you just from my observance is that a lot of people don't actually have that experience, and they don't have the tools because the tools are expensive. A lot of the tools you end up having to buy yourself. You really and truly cannot depend on a company to provide the tools for you. But luckily, that also opens you up to being able to work outside. So if there's like a company or like a small business that needs a couple lines run, you can do it yourself as long as you make sure that everything is on the up and up in terms of your licenses, in terms of your contracts, in terms of who's responsible for what. As long as you have all that information together, then you're fine. In terms of networking, there's a lot of complexity to it, and it gets a lot more complex the larger that a network gets. So if you're going to be a network administrator, then you need to specialize in that. But a network administrator and a server administrator are two different things. A server administrator should be able to tell you exactly how that server functions, what it's responsible for, how many users are connecting to it, the amount of bandwidth that needs to be allocated to it, whether it's going to be a 10 gig connection, 1 gig, 24 gig, 40 gig, 50 gig, so on and so on. That there are entire switch chassis that handle 100 gig connections. So you need to be able to understand exactly what resources your servers need, and you need to be able to communicate with the vendor in case your systems do not work. And then you have your application support people, then you have database administrators, and several other ways. The cool thing about working in IT is that you're not really siloed to any particular group, but once you get into a position, you're kind of stuck until something else opens up. So as long as you are fine with the role that you were in, you can keep on working in that, or you can move towards something different. A lot of the roles in IT are going to be lateral moves. It's not going to be really vertical moves. It's going to be more like horizontal. Because most people get kind of worn out of working in the same thing day in and day out. And like I said before, it takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of experience, and it takes a lot of personal time. A lot of people have families. A lot of people don't have time to just sit there day in and day out and just work on this stuff. Me myself, I've had to sacrifice a lot of personal time. I don't see my family that often. I don't really date. not only do I not date, most of my money goes right back into my hobby of working on IT and other IoT connected things. Um, it's what I'm passionate about. And if you're going to work in IT, then eventually, if you don't right now, you will eventually develop a passion for some specialty, and that is what you will focus on. Um, but don't lose hope. Don't give up. Um, if you really want to work in tech, you can work in tech. If you have no interest in it, I would honestly suggest you figure that out pretty quick. You figure it out before you even get out of college. Um, and a lot of instructors will tell you too. Um, when you're in college, um, if you think that all the studying, all the work ends when you're in college, it doesn't. Um, I'm constantly reading manuals. I'm constantly up on the forums. Um, Even if I don't have access to something, I'm still reading about it. You have to figure out how engaged you're going to be in your industry. And another thing that I've noticed in the industry is the ageism. A lot of people talk about how older people get like kind of like nudged out of working in tech. But what they don't talk about is when you're younger and let's say 20, 21, around there, um, even all the way up till you're 25. When you're looking at jobs and you're applying, just depending on like how much actual dedication that you put into it, a lot of companies will think that you're lying about your experience, and you'll get overlooked. I've had that happen to me several times. Um, Happened to me when I was trying to interview for jobs with Microsoft. Happened to me when I was trying to interview for jobs with other companies. A lot of people do not believe your education. They don't believe your experience. They don't believe half the jobs that you list. And unfortunately, I know that a lot of people lie on their resumes. So the people that have lied up on their resumes, that they make it more difficult for the people that actually do have that level of experience. Um, you have a choice. You can either lie like everybody else does, or you can actually be honest about your level of experience, and you can still be overlooked. Um, I've been overlooked for several roles. Uh, like I said, it took me 10 years just to actually get into an IT job. Because I started college in 2009, and I graduated with my first degree in 2011. I didn't find a job in IT until I was 29. I interviewed for multiple roles. I got overlooked for multiple roles, and the reality is that racism is also a thing. And right now, I can tell you from experience that a lot of companies are moving away from trying to hire white people. It's nothing new to me. I've noticed it for a decade. Um, so it's an uphill battle, and that's why I actually know a few people that have already left the United States because of this. Um, and there's other reasons, um, but you got to be able to understand that as well. Don't expect to stay in the same place. Um, Honestly, if you don't have children, you may want to think about staying away from having children. It makes you a lot easier to leave. It makes it a lot easier for you to just get up and go. Um, a lot of companies don't really have loyalty to their employees anymore. So be prepared for that as well. Um, if you get laid off, you need to think about what you're going to do after that point. Because I can tell you from experience, honestly, most of the experience that you have is not going to be really all that transferable. Um, some of the skills, sure, password resets, anybody can do that. And that's honestly one reason why a lot of companies have started like sending out contracting agencies to go and hire people to do help desk roles. And what I've actually seen happen is that some of those contracting agencies, that they'll send a recruiter out to Walmart or McDonald's or Burger King or something like that, and that's where a lot of the help desk is coming from these days. But there's nothing wrong with any of this. You just have to be prepared, and you got to be ready to move. Know your value, know your worth. Make PowerPoint slideshows. Every 2 years, you need to be able to document what you know. You need to have a list of projects that you can point to and say, I did this, this, and this. And really and truly, do not expect your employers or your managers or anything like that to vouch for you. In my own personal experience, managers have gone back behind me and given me negative reviews. And I only ever got around it once I actually started documenting what I did. I wrote PowerPoint slideshows because I wasn't going to ever be misrepresented by a manager again. Is it paranoid? Yes. But I have actually seen it work. Knowing your worth and actually speaking on your worth and what you've done will help you move up a lot faster than expecting somebody else to drop out a hand. You need to learn how to be your own advocate. You need to learn how to actually voice your concerns. You need to be a specialist in whatever field you decide to be in. No. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on all this. You can take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter. If you got any questions, you can always send me an email. Yeah, so maybe I'll make another video sometime soon. I'm just kind of going through some feelings at this point, but everything will work out. Everything always does. Until then, I guess I'll just leave it there.